Okay, so there's this tweet that some people are hyping up, but it's also kind of a nothing tweet, right? It's from Tom Henderson and it says, almost everyone at Gamescom gave interesting hardware discussion about handhelds. My hunch is that you should save your money a little longer if you're planning to buy one. It seems like a lot more options and improvements are coming soon, not sure on exact timelines. End quote. And if this tweet makes you feel anything at all, it's probably one of two feelings. On the one hand, this may give you some sort of handheld anxiety, like maybe you wanted to buy a Steam Deck or an ROG Ally, and you see something like this and you think, should I wait? But if you're just someone that's interested in seeing how fast handheld technology and the handheld market is growing, then maybe this is exciting because it sounds like there are some really notable devices that are in the pipeline and you can't wait to see what that's all about and who exactly is working on them. I think you can probably figure which side of the coin I land on, but there's also this possibility that all of this just makes you feel nothing at all. So to explain why people are making a big deal about this, it helps to know who Tom Henderson is. There's this subreddit, the Gaming Leaks and Rumors subreddit, and of course there's a thread about this tweet there, and the auto moderator of the subreddit has a quick pinned post that explains why people are excited to see something like this from Tom Henderson. It says, quote, Tom Henderson is a tier 1, very reliable source as determined by the community. Since January 1st, 2024, Tom Henderson has had 7 unique claims and 1 verifiable claim posted to the subreddit. Of his verifiable claims in this time period, Tom Henderson has been 100% correct, end quote. They're tracking this all in what they call the Gaming Leaks Accuracy Database, and personally, I can say Tom Henderson has broken stories about notable hardware, including the PlayStation Portal, so when he implies or even outright says that there are big players that are working on handhelds right now, then you can rest assured that it's actually happening. But on the other hand, this is kind of a vague tweet. You probably could have guessed this yourself, right? Like news at 11, video game companies are researching and developing handhelds in 2024 as the handheld market continues to heat up. It's like reporting the story that Activision is working on a new Call of Duty. It's unsurprising, bordering on potentially not even worth mentioning. And to be fair, Tom Henderson didn't post this on his news outlet, insidergaming.com. He simply tweeted it out. But he does give one additional hint when someone asks him a follow-up question. They ask, any chance of a dedicated PlayStation handheld? And Tom responds, the PlayStation Portal was very successful and they are paying very close attention to the current handheld market, smiley face emoji. This to me is a very tongue-in-cheek response, and it feels like the reader is intended to read between the lines here to infer that PlayStation is absolutely working on a dedicated PlayStation handheld. At least that's how I see it. And I think this kind of brings us to the crux. The way I read all of this, based on everything we know so far, is not, oh, some big players are working on handhelds. It's more like all the biggest players are working on handhelds. And there's a small degree to which I feel like for some of these companies, specifically Microsoft, it may be a little bit too late. I also believe the Steam Deck has changed the landscape and made the idea of a walled garden handheld a lot less attractive than it would have been 5 years ago. To be honest, it seems fair to me to say that the Steam Deck started this new age of handhelds, a new handheld revolution, if you will. You could of course point to the Nintendo Switch and you wouldn't be wrong, not at all. But very little seemed to happen in the world of handhelds between 2017 and 2022, but ever since the release of the Steam Deck, it's been handheld after handheld after handheld. And it seems like this entire gaming industry has converged to the point where the option of handheld play is now a requirement and not a nice to have. But I'm getting ahead of myself because when I talk about who these biggest players are and what they're likely working on, I am talking about Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft. Like, we already know the successor to the Switch is coming soon, whatever soon means. We know that many players feel like it's well overdue in terms of the age of the existing hardware. We've seen rumors continue to heat up, including leaks of production schedules. We seem to have collectively come to the conclusion that we'll see an announcement at the end of the year and it'll be released and available by mid-2025. Then there's Microsoft, who's had virtually nothing but bad press in the last couple of years. Lately, it's been getting worse with a lot of games either skipping Xbox or having severe delays due to having to optimize for the much less powerful Xbox Series S. I think that Microsoft believes they can turn that frown upside down if they release a handheld that can play any Xbox Series games out of the box, thanks to the proactive optimization derived from needing to support the Series S. That brings us to the last big player. The rumors and speculations we've heard so far is that Sony is working on a handheld that is similar in architecture to PC handhelds. That is to say, it will likely have an AMD x86 CPU with integrated graphics, similar to the Steam Deck and ROG Ally, but it will be a PlayStation system through and through. The PlayStation Portal was a way to test the market for handhelds, and the Portal is much more successful than they initially imagined. You can tell they sent it out as a test because although I am personally a fan of the Portal, it does feel incredibly half-baked for reasons I'm not going to relitigate here. So if the Portal was just a test, what would a new PlayStation handheld look like? Would it be like a Vita with dedicated software and its own set of games? Or would it be more like a portable PS4 or portable PS5? My friend Jimmy at PS Ready seems to think it's going to be the latter, kind of in between a portable PS4 and a portable PS5. Something that can play all PS4 games and some PS5 games that are particularly well suited to lower specification hardware. However you slice it though, there's an elephant in the room that I haven't addressed at all. All of these handhelds, including the Switch 2, have to live in a post-Steam Deck world with the knowledge that a Steam Deck 2 is looming. And you might say that PC gaming and console gaming are in totally different worlds and that the Steam Deck audience is completely isolated from the PlayStation, Xbox, and Switch audiences, but personally, I don't see it that way. I was a console gamer once upon a time, and now I'm a PC gamer. Or maybe more accurately, I'm a Steam gamer. My point being that the PC has given me more and more reason to not own consoles or buy games on consoles, or even spend time on consoles. There are exceptions, of course. There are exclusives that come to Switch that I'm going to buy, no question about that. But the more time goes on, the less money and time I spend on consoles. I think that some of you in the audience are similar, and I expect that there's going to be more of us to come. So maybe I'm biased, but the idea of an Xbox Series handheld and a PlayStation handheld, and even the Switch 2, is a tiny bit less exciting than it would have been 5 years ago before I had a Steam Deck. To be clear, the Steam Deck has sold in the single-digit millions, and the PS5 has over 50 million sold, not to mention the Switch. So there's an order of magnitude difference in terms of that. So I'm not saying that these handhelds wouldn't do well, not at all. But I think the landscape is changing. In 2017, I wanted a Switch simply because it was a handheld that could play these relatively high-fidelity games. I was excited to see a game like Doom 2016 get ported because, wow, now I can play this game on the go. But in 2025 or 2026, it seems like everyone's going to have a handheld that can play relatively high fidelity games. So that's just a floor of what it's going to mean to be a gaming platform. And Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft are each going to have to do a lot more to attract me and maybe some of you to buy into that platform. What do you think? What would it take to make you buy a Switch 2 or a PlayStation or Xbox handheld? Share your thoughts and let's talk about it in the comments. Later.